Most people live their lives trapped in a box they didn't even build. That box is made of what they've seen, what they've been told, and what they've already experienced. But the greatest gift you've ever been given, the gift that can break the walls of that box and set you free, is your imagination. Your imagination is the workshop of your future. It's the drawing board where God hands you the pen and says, design what you desire. And the question is, are you bold enough to draw something bigger than your current reality? Imagination is the workshop of your future. It is the sacred space where the life you desire is crafted long before it becomes tangible. In your imagination, you can design the blueprint of what you want, free from the limitations of your current circumstances. It is in that inner workshop that ideas are born, dreams are shaped, and possibilities begin to take form. Nothing great ever existed in the world without first existing in the mind of someone who dared to imagine it. Every invention, every business, every piece of art began as an unseen picture in someone's heart and mind. When you give yourself permission to imagine, you open the door to infinite possibilities. You begin to see yourself living in a reality that is bigger than your present situation. You are no longer bound by the walls of your past or the opinions of others. In that workshop, there are no limits except the ones you choose to impose on yourself. You can imagine yourself healthier, wealthier, happier, and more fulfilled. You can imagine yourself achieving goals that may seem impossible to the average thinker, but in the workshop of your imagination, they are already being built. Imagination gives you the ability to create before you create. It allows you to construct the future in your mind's eye with as much detail as you desire. The more vividly you imagine, the more real it becomes to you. You can see the colors, feel the textures, hear the sounds, and even taste the victory before it happens. This level of detail strengthens your belief and conditions your mind to accept your vision as inevitable. The human mind has an incredible way of turning repeated images into expectations and expectations into reality. In that workshop, there is no shortage of resources. You are not limited by money, time, or opportunity. You can design the most elaborate vision without worrying about how it will come to pass. That how will reveal itself once you are fully committed to the what. Most people never see the future they desire because they never take the time to imagine it with conviction. They allow their imagination to be clouded by fear, doubt, and past failures, shutting down the creative process before it can even begin. When you imagine with boldness, you set in motion an invisible chain of events. The ideas you visualize begin to influence your decisions. Your decisions shape your actions, and your actions create your results. Without realizing it, you begin to move in alignment with the vision you've been carrying in your mind. You start speaking differently, walking differently, and thinking differently because your imagination has already placed you in the future you desire. The workshop becomes the rehearsal space for the life you will one day live. This is why imagination must be fed. The more you expose yourself to new ideas, new places, and new possibilities, the more raw material you bring into your workshop. Just like a builder needs quality materials to construct a strong building, your imagination needs quality input to design a strong future. Read books that stretch your thinking, spend time with people who inspire you, and explore environments that expand your vision. What you feed your mind will directly influence what you can create within it. It's important to understand that the workshop of your imagination is always open, whether you are conscious of it or not. If you are not intentionally using it to design the life you want, it will be used by default to repeat the life you already have. The pictures you dwell on will either pull you forward or hold you back. That is why you must be deliberate about what you allow to occupy the space of your imagination. Fill it with images that empower you, challenge you, and compel you toward greatness. There will be moments when your current reality will try to convince you that your imagination is unrealistic. People will tell you to be practical, as if practicality ever built something extraordinary. History's most significant achievements were once considered impossible. The airplane was once a laughable fantasy. The light bulb was once an absurd dream. The idea of humans walking on the moon was once pure science fiction. Yet all of these became reality because someone dared to keep building in the workshop of their imagination despite the criticism. The beautiful thing about imagination is that it can turn limitations into innovations. When you imagine freely, you stop focusing on what you lack and start discovering what you can create. You begin to see solutions that others miss because they are stuck looking only at the problem. You begin to unlock levels of creativity that allow you to find opportunities in the very situations others run from. Imagination shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith, from despair to hope. The workshop of your imagination is where you decide who you will become and what you will achieve. It is where you paint the portrait of your destiny with the brushstrokes of faith, creativity, and boldness. It is not bound by time, location, or circumstance. It exists beyond the reach of your critics and beyond the grasp of your doubts. In that sacred space, you can create a future so vivid, so compelling, that you are pulled toward it with unshakable determination every single day. What you imagine dominates your life. The pictures you hold in your mind act like a compass, quietly directing your actions, decisions, and even the opportunities you notice. If the image in your mind is one of success, progress, and abundance, your choices begin to align with that vision. If the picture is one of fear, limitation, and lack, your actions will unconsciously keep you bound to that reality. The human mind has a remarkable ability to turn repeated mental images into lived experiences, whether those images work for you or against you. Every single day, your thoughts are shaping a movie in your mind, and you are both the director and the main character. The problem for most people is that they don't take control of the script. They allow their past mistakes, negative voices, and current challenges to project a film they don't even want to watch, let alone live in. Yet, when you become intentional about what you imagine, you start writing a different story. That story begins to color every decision, from the way you speak to the risks you take, and eventually, it becomes the reality you step into. The images in your mind are powerful because they affect your emotions. And your emotions drive your behavior. If you constantly imagine yourself failing, you will feel fear before you even take the first step. And that fear will sabotage your efforts. If you imagine yourself winning, succeeding, and thriving, you'll feel excitement, motivation, and determination. That emotional energy will push you to take bold actions that move you closer to your vision. This is why two people can be given the same opportunity, yet one will succeed while the other gives up. The difference is the picture they carry in their imagination. Your imagination does not wait for permission to influence you. It works around the clock. When you dwell on a thought long enough, it begins to dominate your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind starts to act like it's true. This is why athletes visualize their victories before stepping onto the field, and why successful entrepreneurs often see their business thriving before the first customer arrives. They understand that the mind must see it before the hands can build it. The danger is that this same principle works in reverse. If you keep imagining negative outcomes, your mind will prepare you to experience them. You'll take fewer risks, avoid opportunities, and even talk yourself out of possibilities because the dominant image in your mind tells you it's not worth trying. The more you rehearse failure in your imagination, the more likely you are to live it out. This is not superstition. It's how the brain works. What you continually feed your mind becomes the filter through which you see and interpret the world. Shifting what dominates your imagination requires deliberate action. You must decide to replace limiting images with empowering ones. This could mean visualizing yourself healthy instead of sick, prosperous instead of broke, confident instead of fearful. At first, your current reality may scream that your imagination is unrealistic, but over time, the repeated picture will become so clear that your mind accepts it as possible. Once that happens, your habits, words, and actions will start to move in harmony with that new picture. Your imagination acts like a magnet. When you see yourself living a certain way, you begin to notice the opportunities, people, and resources that can help you get there. Before, they might have been invisible to you, but now they stand out because your mind has been trained to look for them. You might call it coincidence, but it's simply the power of focus. You attract what dominates your attention, and what dominates your attention comes from what you imagine most often. Many people underestimate this power because they confuse imagination with fantasy. They think imagining a better life is a waste of time when they should be dealing with reality. But the truth is, reality is constantly being shaped by what is first imagined. Every building was imagined before it was constructed. Every invention was pictured in someone's mind before it was built. Your personal life works the same way. The vision in your mind comes first, the physical form follows. Guarding what you imagine is just as important as creating it. You cannot allow other people's fears, society's limits, or yesterday's failures to pollute your mental picture. Once a negative image takes root, it can grow like a weed and choke the vision you are trying to cultivate. That's why you must feed your mind with inspiration, possibility, and hope so the dominant images are aligned with the future you want, not the past you've survived. Ultimately, what you imagine becomes the framework for your choices, and your choices build the life you live. Every victory, every setback, every breakthrough is tied to the mental picture that preceded it. If you want to change your life, you must first change what dominates your imagination. When the picture changes, your focus changes. And when your focus changes, your future changes. Vision must replace memory. Memory is a record of what has already happened. And while it can hold valuable lessons, it also has the power to trap you in cycles you were never meant to repeat. When you live guided by memory, you make decisions based on where you have been rather than where you are going. You measure possibilities against past experiences, which means you keep reliving the same patterns. Vision, on the other hand, is a picture of the future that is yet to be created. It pulls you forward while memory tries to keep you anchored to the past. There is nothing wrong with remembering, but when memory becomes the primary lens through which you see life, it limits your capacity to grow. If your past was full of failure, disappointment, or scarcity, your memory will whisper that your future will be the same. Vision disrupts that lie. Vision says that what's ahead can be greater than what's behind. It shifts your attention from what has been to what can be. It gives you a reason to wake up every day with expectation instead of resignation. Living by vision means you stop letting your past dictate your limits. It means you stop saying, I've never done that before, as if that's a reason you can't do it now. Everything you've accomplished in your life was once something you had never done before. Vision invites you to step into the unknown with faith instead of fear. Memory will keep you comfortable. Vision will make you grow. Memory will tell you to stay where it's safe. Vision will call you to build something that doesn't exist yet. The danger of relying too much on memory is that it builds a mental prison. You start thinking in terms of patterns you've already lived. If you've experienced setbacks, you expect more setbacks. If you've faced rejection, you expect more rejection. You begin to predict your future based on your past, and in doing so, you repeat it. Vision breaks that cycle because it allows you to see a reality that doesn't match your current circumstances or your history. It replaces what was with what could be. Vision must be cultivated deliberately. It doesn't just appear, you have to nurture it, feed it, and protect it from being overshadowed by old memories. That means spending time imagining what your life could look like if you remove the boundaries your past has placed on you. It means writing down goals that scare you, creating mental pictures of a life that excites you, and surrounding yourself with people who inspire you to dream bigger. Without intentional cultivation, memory will always try to reclaim control. When vision takes the lead, your decisions change. You no longer choose based on what feels familiar. You choose based on what moves you closer to the picture in your mind. You stop asking, what happened last time I tried? And start asking, what needs to happen this time to make it work? Your actions become future-driven instead of past-driven. And that shift changes everything about the way you approach challenges and opportunities. It's important to understand that memory and vision can't equally dominate your life. You will always be led by one more than the other. If memory dominates, you will be reactive, always responding to life as it comes, stuck in patterns you already know. If vision dominates, you will be proactive, shaping life according to what you see in your mind. The tension between the two is constant, but only one can set the direction of your life. Sometimes, replacing memory with vision requires forgiveness, both of others and of yourself, as long as you hold on to past hurts, mistakes, or missed opportunities. You anchor yourself to those moments. Forgiveness cuts the anchor so your vision can take you somewhere new. Vision cannot fully flourish in a mind cluttered with resentment and regret. Clearing that space gives you room to see possibilities without the shadow of yesterday clouding them. There will be moments when memory will try to pull you back, especially when you face obstacles that resemble past challenges. In those moments, you must remind yourself that vision is not about repeating the past. It's about rewriting the future. You must learn to look at difficulties through the lens of where you're going, not where you've been. When you do, the challenges become stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. Vision must replace memory because memory is a mirror, while vision is a window. A mirror only shows you what has been, but a window lets you see what's possible beyond your current space. If you keep staring at the mirror, you'll never move. If you keep looking through the window, you'll be drawn toward a future that's bigger than your past. Your imagination is a muscle. Like any muscle in your body, it grows stronger when you use it and weaker when you neglect it. The more you exercise it, the more capable it becomes of stretching beyond the limits of your current reality. When you stop using it, it begins to atrophy, and your ability to see possibilities beyond your present circumstances fades. The tragedy is that most people don't even realize they've let this muscle weaken because they've been taught to value logic over creativity and familiarity over vision. When you first start using your imagination intentionally, it may feel uncomfortable. Just like lifting weights for the first time, the movement might feel strange and the resistance might seem heavy. You may try to picture a better future, but the images are faint and the details are unclear. That's normal. A weak muscle doesn't perform at its highest capacity on the first day. It requires consistent effort over time. The more you imagine, the clearer and more vivid your mental pictures become. Every great invention, business, and achievement came from someone who built the muscle of their imagination through constant use. They didn't just think about their ideas once, they revisited them daily, added details, refined them, and imagined them from different angles. This repetitive process strengthened the muscle until their vision was so real in their mind that reality had no choice but to catch up. The muscle of imagination thrives on repetition and focus. Just like physical muscles respond to the kind of training you give them, your imagination develops according to what you feed it. If you constantly consume negative information, focus on limitations, and dwell on problems, you are training your imagination to work against you. Instead of imagining solutions, you'll imagine more problems. But if you feed your mind with inspiration, knowledge, and creativity, you will train your imagination to build solutions, opportunities, and breakthroughs. Stretching your imagination is like adding weight to your workout. You start small by picturing things slightly beyond your current reality, and then you gradually push further. If you currently earn a modest income, imagine doubling it. Once that image becomes comfortable, imagine doubling it again. If you're working toward a personal goal, imagine not just reaching it, but exceeding it by a level that excites you. This constant stretching forces the muscle to grow stronger and more flexible. Rest is also an important part of building any muscle, and imagination is no different. You can't always force inspiration. You must also give your mind space to breathe. Sometimes the best ideas and visions come when you step away from your normal routine and let your imagination work in the background. Walk in nature, listen to music, or explore a new environment. These moments of rest and exposure to new experiences recharge the muscle and prepare it for even greater creative leaps. Your imagination, when fully developed, becomes a powerful tool for problem solving. Instead of being overwhelmed by challenges, you begin to imagine ways around, over, or through them. You start to see multiple paths where others see dead ends. This kind of creative resilience only comes when the muscle has been strengthened through consistent use and intentional stretching. The muscle of imagination also needs protection. Just as an athlete guards against injury, you must guard your imagination against negativity, doubt, and small-minded thinking. People who have let their own imagination weaken will often try to discourage you from using yours. They will tell you to be realistic because they've accepted their limits as unchangeable. Protect your mental space from voices that shrink your vision. Training your imagination is not something that happens once and is finished. It's a lifelong discipline. Just as muscles require maintenance to stay strong, your imagination must be worked consistently to remain sharp, creative, and powerful. This means setting aside time to